this webinar about the release of the Unified Commerce Platform and the integration between LS Retail and Dynamic Web. With me today, I have Peter from LS Retail based in Iceland. Peter will cover the LS Retail part. Also with me is Dan. Dan is our product manager when it comes to integrations. So Dan, he will facilitate a live demo of you. And on the right side, you see me. I'm responsible of the sales in Dynamic Web, and I will try to coordinate. So the agenda today is that Peter will start out with some overall introduction about e-commerce in combination with LS Retail. I will talk a little bit about, I will just tell you very shortly and very briefly about Dynamic Web, who we are. Then Dan will go into a demo, also talking about and showing you the integration points that we have today, and going a little bit deeper into the details about the existing integration that we have. Then at the end, I will try to facilitate a little bit about the process when you sell web solutions, e-commerce solutions, how to do that and how we can assist you, not only us from Dynamic Web, but also LS Retail, how we can assist you so you become successful when implementing LS integrated e-commerce solutions in the future. At the end, we will have a Q&A session where we are all available for you guys to ask questions, and we will along the way try to answer the questions as good as we can. So by this short introduction, thank you very much for joining. I see that there are people from all over the globe here, so some of you have an afternoon, some of you have a very early morning, like you, Peter. And by these words, then I will give the presentation, or I will give the word to you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Brede, for the introduction, and hello, everyone. My name is Peter Thor Sigurðsson, and as Brede said, I'm the product director for e-commerce at LS Retail. And I would like to give you a short overview of e-commerce from the LS Retail perspective. Now, as we all know, e-commerce, Brede, if you could back one slide, please. There we are. Thank you. Now, as we all know, e-commerce plays an ever important role in today's retail environment. And at LS Retail, e-commerce is indeed an integral part of our unified commerce strategy. With online sales now accounting for a big percentage of all total retail sales and growing, we at LS Retail fully recognize the importance of e-commerce, as we've been investing heavily in building our e-commerce support from the ground up, and thereby enabling our solutions to support modern-day e-commerce. So let's dive in and see how LS Retail drives e-commerce through unified commerce. As is with everything unified commerce, it all starts with the central hub of things, our all-in-one retail solution, LS Central. And just to clear up why we label our solution LSNEV/Central, then some of you might know that we at LS Retail have had our LSNEV solution for a number of years, and it builds on the Microsoft Dynamics NAV platform. But as Dynamics NAV is now transitioning into Business Central, or more specifically Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, we felt it was time for our key solution to get a new identity, and hence we have the new name, LS Central. Now, LS Central is our end-to-end retail solution. So this is where you set up the web store. That is, configure the store, set up item distribution, price and discount schemes, loyalty, etc., etc. Everything similar to setting up one of your physical stores, except that this one is online. And the key element here is that all the data is created and maintained in LS Central, and from there flows out to all of our channels. Now, this ensures consistency. All data is thereby available on all channels, and there is no chance of a discrepancy between the online experience and the brick-and-mortar one. Now, whether that's through our stationary POS or our mobile POS, for example. But as I said, we've been investing heavily in enabling LS Central to drive a successful online presence, and this involves adding a number of new elements, features, and workflows to support an engaging online presence. And to name a few examples, I might mention customer orders, a new module in our solution to fulfill online orders, as well as order placed in stores. We now have a single transaction repository where orders from all channels are now accumulated centrally, and this allows for accurate customer history and also facilitates frictionless returns between channels. We've employed a new dynamic item hierarchy, especially tailored to e-commerce. We now also support having multiple brands where the same instance of LS Central can drive multiple web stores. And we've considerably optimized our posting and basket calculation services, ensuring optimal throughput for a busy e-commerce store. But the main thing here is unified commerce. The main thing is that we are making sure that all of our retail solutions or all of our retail features are also available online, meaning all loyalty elements, gift cards, detailed information about the items, our prices and discounts, meaningful recommendations, and so forth. And this is obviously an ongoing development process, but with the aim of ensuring a seamless transition from in-store to online. And for the next piece in the topology, if I could ask you to change the slide, Brede. Thank you. So on top of LS Central, we have the OmniServer exposing our e-commerce API. That is our single point of entry into our solutions for everything e-commerce. Now, here we are delivering a modern API offering both SOAP and RESTful-based web services. And through this API, we allow e-commerce platforms the ability to, for example, replicate and synchronize data to their local databases. We allow them to calculate the e-commerce basket using the transaction calculation engine in LS Central. We allow them to post transactions in real time, get real-time inventory lookups, get real-time product recommendations, and so much more. So this is what constitutes our backend. But a great e-commerce site is obviously all about the user experience. And there, the e-commerce platform plays a huge role. So Brede, if you could change the slide for me. Thank you. And amongst our supported e-commerce platforms is Dynamic Web, who are now releasing their integration to LS Retail. Now, we have a very special relationship with Dynamic Web as the two companies have entered into a strategic partnership. And it's my pleasure to hand the mic back over to Brede and Dan so we can learn more about the integration and the enormous possibilities we get by combining these two solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. And once again, you are able to post questions in the panel, and we will answer them as good as we can afterwards. So thank you very much, Peter. It sets it into context, and I think it's a good point that what the two parties, Dynamic Web and LS Retail, have been working on for the last couple of years is to make sure that the customer get a consistent message whether they are entering into one of your physical stores or they enter into the e-commerce solution of the store. So in that perspective, I will just give you a short introduction to Dynamic Web. Dynamic Web was founded in 1999. We are more or less a global company today. We are headquartered in Aarhus, which is the second largest city in this small country under this star. So we work globally. As you can see, we have still some white spots that we need to cover. We are approximately 140-ish people around the globe, and work especially with a lot of Dynamics partners in order to enable future web store e-commerce solution product information management. So we work with partners. A lot of you partners are attending here today, and what you will experience is that a lot of you partners, especially when you come from the ERP world or the Dynamics world, you are used to working with a data source that could be traditional NAV, it could be LS Retail or LS NAV, LS Central, or it could be other systems that you have as a data source. And what we as company together with LS Retail have decided is to leverage all that we do in our front end. So that means that when a customer buys a Dynamic Web license, what does he then get? He gets a full-blown content management system, which means that the customer, he can build all of his websites, brands, language versions with different editor roles and so on and so forth. So that is actually where we started back in 1999. Then added along the way in 2001, we had one of our customers asking, in your content management system, is it possible also to show our product catalog? And in that way, we started to actually develop our e-commerce solution. So we have also worked with e-commerce for the last 18, 19 years. So we have a quite comprehensive e-commerce solution. In 2011, the marketing suite was added to Dynamic Web. So in the same backend, you will also have marketing tools like, for example, email marketing, the possibility to work with a personalized experience when people enter into the store or into the e-commerce solution. They will see personalized content on the website. They will see personalized products in the e-commerce catalog. And we will also be able to automate marketing flows, email marketing flows, based on behavior, both on the online presence, but also through the integration with LS Retail on, for example, what loyalty members do in the physical store. The last pillar that we have in Dynamic Web is the product information management system. As most of you might know, is that it becomes a more and more complex world to work with multiple languages, a lot of attributes, depending on which channel that you actually have to deliver your information to. You have to actually expose data that is relevant to that channel and to that context the customer is in. Microsoft technology, .NET in the bottom, and the integration that we built, the integration with LS Retail on top of. So the unified commerce offering that we are doing today is, together with LS Retail, is trying to combine the physical world with the offline operations. And the offline operations, we know them. We go to them when we do our groceries, when our children want to have electronic gadgets, or we want to buy some new stuff. So it's a relatively known area for all of us. What is not known for all of us is the unified experience that we need to give customers. Today we see that customers address and they investigate a lot of information on the internet, and they expect also to get information, that item that I've looked at here, where is it possible to get on the spot. They also expect information about where they can pick it up, whether they want to have it sent at home or they want to choose from one of the stores that is already present in the LS NAV central database. Another thing that we want to acquire and to achieve with this is to make it easy for our partners to work with the solution. So what we have built here is a very, very high starting point, included the integration. So if you can work with the integration as is, you could actually implement the solution, change the logo, and make the integration, run the product catalog, and you would basically have a product catalog and an e-commerce solution up and running in no time. The last thing, which I also find very important, is that Dynamic Web and LS Retail, we are very close to each other. We talk on a weekly basis, and we also commit to a roadmap. So this will be a scalable solution. So the pains that the unified commerce is solving, so we want to reuse all business logic. They are already in place in LS Retail, so we don't want to build redundancy. We don't want to build logic into different IT systems. We need to make sure that brick and mortar stores and the e-commerce solution is real-time connected. That means if a customer looks at the website, where can I find this item in which store? It really needs to be real-time connected to the store. Also, that for example, when we run an in-store campaign, that we could also do it in the digital platform, making sure that we get information on behavior in the physical store to actually do campaigning, for example, on a live basis, that we would like to send out an email to customers who have been in our physical store the last 2 months looking at those Adidas shoes. We would like to offer them a very good offer on a shirt, Adidas shirt as well. Standardized integration component, as said before, and the product information management, which I also told you about before. I will not go more into deep with that. And finally, make sure that we as a software vendor together with LS Retail will support you, so you will not be left alone in times where it will be difficult, because of course in implementations things get difficult. So in this respect, you have two software vendors who takes the responsibility for the integration that is made and is up and running. So that is the words and the introduction from me, and then I will hand over the the word to you, Dan, to just run through the solution overview, and when we have done the slides, you will also get the presentation mode. Dan?
Yes, thank you, brother. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good noon, good evening. So I'm going to take you through our solution. And if you could, yeah, thank you. So this is sort of like the high-level headlines of what we offer in our release today. So we have discounts coming from LS Central. We have orders flowing to LS Central. We have store locations of all the brick-and-mortar stores you have, and then click and collect option so that you can actually send a specific customer order to a specific shop. Then we have loyalty member concepts, which obviously I'm going to demo, but it's essentially you can log in with a loyalty member. You can see specific discounts, and you can see loyalty points, and you can pay with loyalty points. And then the basics, which are items, product data, all variant options, so on and so forth. I will focus heavily on the discounts and the click and collect orders, and then the member concepts. So in terms of item details and product data and so on, just follow me along as I go through the site. I won't mention those specifically. Next slide, please. Yes, so there's a high-level agenda for my live demo. I'll begin with a loyalty member, show some of the discounts, and do a full click and collect where we begin on the website and we end up at the POS in the store, and we do the final transaction where the customer pays for the collected items. A bit. Next slide, please, brother.
Yes, just a second. Are you there, Dan?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing the screen because I'm already. Never mind. I'll just jump directly to the live demo. So let me share my screen. All right. Do we see the screen?
Yes.
Cool. So what you see before you is the front page of our fashion store based on the web store coming from the LS Central. It's part of the normal demo data. And I'm running everything on a single VM, and I'm actually running offline. So I have LS Central, LS Omni, I have Dynamic Web, and then of course the actual site running. Yes. So the first thing I'll demo is a loyalty member logging in. I jumped to the product page for Linda items because I wanted to show you that this loyalty member, Tom, is part of a club or a club level So he gets the 15% discount. If I were to log out again, I wouldn't see that discount. So that's a specific offer for that club scheme. And I'll just quickly show you Tom, so member management. So I'm now in LS Central, member account. So there we have Tom Thompson. And if I do the login, you could see I used Tom TOM. All right. Then I can view my profile. So we replicate the phone number, the email address, the name, and also the point balance. So Tom has a lot of points to use. Yeah, so that's member management. Now I want to showcase two discounts. The first discount I want to show is the multi-buy coming from LS Central. So you see you can buy 2 to get 10 off, buy 4 to get 20 off, and so on and so forth. So if I click this one and add it to the cart, yeah, I had one from previously, so there's actually 4 items there, but it doesn't matter. I still get my 20% discount. And just to show you, in LS Central, so they're defined in multi-buy discounts. And if I open up the multi-buy Lindor sweater discounts, you see 10% discount for 2, 20 for 4, 40 for 60. So this discount is replicated over. Yes, let me just enter my card again and do some other discounts. So the next one I want to show is the mix and match. This is a discount where you essentially combine products to get a specific deal. So let's say I add a product to my cart, and I can see there's a mix and match offer, and I scroll down and take a look. All right, what other items can I buy this together with? And there are actually 2 mix and match offers for this product. So I'll be using this one here, Dress Apart, get 15% discount. So I'll be buying a blouse. So I'll add that to cart. So now you see I get a 15% discount, and I'll just show you that one as well. Mix and match, Dressed Apart. So here are the items, and I also just want to show that the headline here, or the text you get here, is directly replicated from the POS lines. So essentially, you expose what's on your POS systems, you expose that to your web front as well, without having to do anything. While we're here, we can also take a look at availability. So you can see that this particular variant of this blouse is available in these 3 stores, or at least they're in stock, and you can see the stock levels. All right, so that's discounts. Now I actually want to go ahead and do a click and collect order. You can select any of the stores that have that's part of the click and collect scheme. I'm just choosing the first one because I know that there's a well-defined POS for it when I go into LS Central. And again, you see the discounts, you see what the name of the discount, and I just accept and I check out. So now I get a customer order number from LS Central, and I can see how many points I'm rewarded. So now I want to go back to LS Central. The first thing I want to show you is that we can actually see this customer order. And there you have it, customer order 50 with the skirt and the blouse. And now I want to open up my POS. So what you should envision now is there is a customer order. Someone wants to buy these two products and they want to come into a specific store. And before they go down there, there's a sales clerk or a salesperson standing either at the front desk or well, any kind of desk. It could be in the back room or whatever. But right now, the point is I want to handle this customer order and make it ready for collection. So I click at retail messages and I can see, all right, there's a lot here. We just picked the one that I just created and process that. So now I can see I should go into the store and collect these two from the racks, and I'll just confirm, and then I'll put it in shelf number 3, for instance. So now I get a receipt or a slip that says this person has collected it and placed it at this shelf. Sorry about the spelling. And there are these two items, and you get a QR code that you can scan when the customer comes. And you can obviously place these together with the items in a bag or whatever you want to place them in. Now, so this is before the customer came. Now the customer comes into the store and it says, I have a customer order, and the person at the POS will say, all right, let me see what we have, and filter for to collect. And this one here is ready to collect. You see the same order number. Click collect, and obviously the customer should say, okay, I don't want that item, I only want this one, but let's just say that this customer wants both of them. We click collect, and now it's in the cash register, and really all you have to do is pay for it. And then the customer gets a receipt. You can see how many points that was earned and what it costs, and you can see the final price, which matches the price on the website. So that's the end-to-end from the website, picking an item as a loyalty member, coming into the store and paying for it. So perhaps whether you can...
Yeah, then a couple of questions has come, and I think that we could take those questions now because they are in the context both of what Peter told and what you have shown. So meanwhile, I will ask the question. Peter, I think this one is for you, or I'm actually not sure. Peter mentioned one transaction repository for all channels. Does that mean that e-commerce is using the LS transaction tables?
Yes, exactly. What this means is that we have made changes, or that's one of the changes that we made, that regardless of the channel where the transaction originates from, everything is put into this centralized transaction repository. So it doesn't matter if I shop through the mobile POS or through the standardized stationary POS, through an app or through an e-commerce platform, all these transactions end up in the good old transaction tables in LSNAV. So when When I view the customer history on each and every platform, I have the capability of seeing transactions from all channels. So when a customer walks into the store and we query the customer history, I see the transactions from online as well as from the brick and mortar context, and this allows me to very easily do returns between channels, for example.
Okay. Next question. Is the Omni server keeping any data, has database, or is it always calling the LSNAV solution?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I need to answer that in a little bit of a historic perspective, because in our first releases of supporting e-commerce, it did keep some set of information, and the idea was to lighten the load a little bit on LSNAV and have the Omni server being able to respond to queries. Now, we have done a U-turn on that architecture for a number of reasons. One is that the web services in LSNAV and the web services provided by Microsoft are now more performant. So we have the capabilities of going directly into LSNAV or LS Central for all of our queries. And also that in order to support the Business Central scenario, that has facilitated that the Omni server is now totally stateless and basically relays all real-time queries into LS Central to reply to.
Okay, thank you. Then it's probably one for you, Dan, or you in combination, you two guys. Is the member management loyalty system in LS Central fully part of the connector?
I'm not sure.
From the LS Retail perspective, absolutely. Through the e-commerce API, we expose all the elements of the loyalty system onwards to the e-commerce platform. But as I said in the introduction, it is an ongoing process that we're doing development-wise. So we are not claiming that 100% or every single entity of all possible subsystems are still available or available yet through the e-commerce API, but that is the objective. But so forth, we do support replicating over to the e-commerce platforms the main loyalty elements, and have just facilitated through the e-commerce API that one can, for example, pay with loyalty points on the e-commerce platform. But bear in mind that this is an ongoing development process.
And maybe I can answer that question, Høgni. That is, there is a short description on what is covered in the connector as is in the presentation, and I will send the presentation to you all afterwards. So, Dan?
Yeah, I was actually going to just recap or restate what's going to be shown in that list. So for loyalty concepts or member concepts, we know what club you're in. We know your contact details, we know your point balance, and then we know your order history, and you're allowed to pay with loyalty points. I think, and then you can actually create a loyalty member from the front end. So you can go in and create a new. You can change your password, and you can recover or reset the password. So all of those concepts are supported from the dynamic web end in this release.
Thank you. Next question. Is the presentation of offers, mix and match, multi-buy, on the web front end standard or customization? What is referred to is the colored boxes showing the offers. It's one for you, I guess, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, that's an implementation detail. I mean, I can go into the back end. So for instance, if we take the multi-buy discount that I showed, what is replicated over is the type, the percentage, the item, and then the quantity. And then for each line in LS Central, you have one corresponding discount over here. So for instance, for multi-buy. So in terms of the front end, let's just find that sweater again. These buttons here are customizations. I mean, that's just something we've added to make it more visually appealing, that you can get these discounts. But without them, it still works. I mean, you can add let's say 6 this time, and even if these customizations are not here, you still get your discount. So I hope that answers the question.
If I can comment further on that a little bit, perhaps, then the discounts, the way they work is that it is indeed LS Central that's calculating the basket. So if there is a ground for applying discounts, the calculation engine in LS Central will give these discounts. Now, to be able to proactively display these discounts, as you're seeing now on Dan's screen, then we replicate the sufficient information to be able to proactively show the discounts beforehand, as Dan is showing us right now. But the visual presentation is something that you need to set up in the front end, the specific color scheme and the elements of the visual presentation. Those are not flowing from LSNEV or LS Central.
It is a part of the implementation process, which I will conclude on this webinar when we get to that point. Next question. That's so nice that there are so many questions here. Does the process also support pay at e-commerce and collect?
Yes. Well, we I think, and perhaps Peter, you can also comment on it. As it is right now, we are using the payment providers from Dynamic Web. If you're going to do payment from the website, so we're not using LS Pay, and it's going to be part, we hope, of the next phase or the next release, that we do something in terms of payments so that they flow, or the payment capture flows back into LS Central. I don't know if you have any comments on it, Pedro?
The connection was a little bit glitchy. Brother, can you reread the question? I couldn't hear it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Does the process also support pay at e-commerce? So you pay the goods in the e-commerce solution and then collect in the physical store.
Just like Dan said, Dan explained it very well with when it comes to payments, but click and collect, if I understand the question correctly, is that click and collect with LS Retail does not support prepayment yet. That's on our roadmap, but to be able to pay online and still pick up in store, that is not supported at the moment. Today we only kind of reserve the items and we pay for them in the store when we physically collect the items.
In the solution as it is today, because then we have to also maybe put some details on this, in the solution as it is today, so all the payment providers can be handled in Dynamic Web, that means in the front end. So we can actually make the capture, we can make the transaction in Dynamic Web, make sure that we get the money, and then we will send information to LS Retail that this product is now paid, or it is reserved, so the customer he can collect it in the store. The delivery of that data remains to be answered. I'm not sure how this will be in the future.
Yeah, so I think I think we are mixing up a little bit what's actually being asked here, but we do support, and the e-commerce API supports that if you want home delivery, then you of course prepay items. Then you obviously need to capture payments before the items shipped, and in that we support receiving the amount from Dynamic Web, where the payment is handled through the one of the payment plugins already available in the ecosystem accompanying Dynamic Web. What's not supported at the moment is to facilitate that payment tokens can flow over to LS Central. That is something that we have on our roadmap and will be attending to shortly, but we do, as we've been accumulating the answer, we do support capturing payments for home delivery orders, but for click and collect, the payment takes place on the POS when you pick up the items.
I think the last question that I have here, the picking process was demoed through the POS at the store. Is there another picking process supported by LS NAV or LS Central that would support more bulk processing when the number of orders increases? That's probably a question for you, Peter.
Well, again, it depends on whether we're looking at, click and collect or what we might categorize as home delivery. So we can source orders either through stores or through warehouses, and if it's a home delivery process, then we simply allow the order to flow into the warehouse processes, where the standardized Microsoft warehouse processes, they take over. For the click and collect inside of a store, then the process is exactly like Dan demoed to us. There is a visual cue on the point of sale that notifies the employees or the sales associates that there is an outstanding order for picking, and the process is just as Dan demoed, but I know that the NAV team or the LS Central team has on the roadmap to facilitate more mobility. So the mobile inventory application, for example, can be used to do the picking process and therefore streamlining it a bit more.
That concluded the questions. Just a question to you, Peter and Dan. Do you see my screen now again?
We do.
Okay, great. So I will just take over here because we are running a little bit over time here and we need to respect people's time. So the demo specifics, what we went through here is then listed the loyalty, how we sign in, the point balance, which we get from LS NAV, LS Central. Order history is also possible to get. We had a demo of the multi-buy offer, a mix and match discount, and then also a customer order where you could pick and you could also see in which stores the item were available. I will not go into this one because it's a boring slide, but these are the details about the release, what is already available in the release as it is right now. So one of the things that a lot of the partners have asked is that who will do the design? What is the process? How do we actually extend our business in doing e-commerce solutions if we want to build that competence inside? So everything in this world starts with the sales. Even when I got married, I need to sell myself to my wife. So everything starts with the sales. So in general, it's a question about you talking to customers, about listening to for this. Just listen and then say you can do this without having some support in this respect. When you have opened the door to the customer and we need to specify the work at hand, that's the next step, and then at the end there's an implementation on top of it. So it's not like that when you download the VM from us, then you can just say, okay, we install it, click, 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 and then it's up and running. That is not how it runs. So let me just give you a short introduction of which tools that we deliver to you as our partners to be able to be to help yourself and not be dependent on us. So at first, when you talk to a customer and they ask, okay, what is the estimation of a solution like this, we have made a document where it's possible for you to adjust that template and make an offer. So an introduction in a customer context, it contains the situation that the customer is in, a little bit about the USPs of Dynamic Web as a solution, the functionalities that will be delivered in the solution, what the approach and process will be, and then an investment and estimation and a next step. This document is used to actually go into what we call a workshop, because we need to specify the solution before we can actually implement, and we make sure that we align expectations of what the customer expects to get delivered and what we are actually going to deliver to them. So the workshop is key here to actually make sure that we meet customers' expectations. I've been in this business, I've been working with e-commerce for the last 15 years, and I know that the devil is in the details. So this is a prerequisite to go into a project together with the customer. Having done this workshop, then it's possible, and then we can deliver a solution description, as we call it, to you. That is a very big document. As you can see here, it's an example of a specific solution description that we have made for the customer, where we actually describe the solution into details, how we make integrations, how we do the project, which architecture that we are going to set up. This document is also available for you. So depending whether you want to do all the job yourself with assistance from us, or you want us to go directly into the communication with the customer, these documents are available for you as our partners. Just some assorted information in terms of pricing of a project like this. So in terms of licenses on the Dynamic website, most of you know the license structure on the other side, but licenses for a customer, we only sell on a subscription base, so the licenses will start from 575 or 575 euros a month. But then the customer also gets both the content management system, the e-commerce solution, the marketing tools. If they want the PIM as well, it's an add-on. Project size starts from approximately 50 days, and that also means that if a customer has an expectation that it's just up and running, then we are probably not the right solution for this. It is an integrated solution. It is key that we're up and running the whole time, so it is a business-critical solution, and we don't want to do it without being serious. Sales works in that way that all our partners are more than welcome to reach out to Dynamic Web when it comes to selling the front end, because it's a new topic for most of you, and I know which questions to ask, and my colleagues as well. And if you have a customer meeting, we can do it online, we can do it offline, we can do it together, so you don't feel that you will sit in a situation where you are not able to answer questions. In terms of project implementation, it's a possibility for us to do it on your behalf. That means that we will take the full implementation project together with you, and we will take the risk, but we will also invoice it. On the other end, it's also possible to do a split between you as a partner and us. And then we will find out that in that specific project. If the partner wants to build competences in this, we have a full-blown onboarding program for new partners, so you can learn it along the way, and by experience, it takes approximately 2 to 3 projects for you to become a full-blown implementation partner of Dynamic Web. It's a quite extensive work with a lot of pitfalls and details. In terms of material that you can get, then we have a virtual machine ready for you. So when you get this presentation, you can download the virtual machine and you can play with it yourself. You are more than welcome to post questions to either me or Dan. We will do our best to answer them as fast as possible. The documentation of the integration is also done, so please follow that link, and then you will see more details about the integration. At the end, marketing collateral, we have some fact sheets, we have some PowerPoint presentations that you can use. We have the offer documents that I also showed you. Everything can be downloaded from this link down here. That finalizes, and I'm sorry to say that we went over with 15-20 minutes, but due to a lot of good questions, I hope it brought you value. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to both Dan, Peter, and I. And if there's not any more questions, then let's get on with the day. Any add-on comments from you, Dan, or you, Peter?
No, just thank you everyone for attending, and we'll be happy to answer any questions if they arise at a later date.